Chris here watching from Brazil.
Hey, Marianne.
How cool.
Oh, that is cool.
How have you been?
Oy
That's
vey.
awesome.
Wait, no.
Nope. Oy vey is Yiddish.
Oh,
That's my saying. I say that all the time.
Me too.
Shit.
Well, let me welcome our newest Supremo members. Rachel, Small Taco, Eric, and Brittany. And Brittany was another supporter from way back in the day. And so I'll read just some of the messages. Hang on. Okay, so Chris says, "Hey guys, I am honored to be a Supremo. Love your show. Missed this week's episode, but I will get caught up before the next one." And then she had a special request. Lots of new Supremos, and it's exciting. Cheers from Coeur d'Alene. And I was not sure where that was at first, so I had to look it up. And it's in Idaho.
Oh. Can you send us some potatoes?
Remember they were doing those like potato friends? There was that company that were doing like potatoes with googly eyes or something.
Yeah, I swear I thought that idea up several years ago, and then someone else must have had the same idea because it is clearly not me who's monetizing from it.
Well, then there was the pet rock. So Eric says, "First off, love the show. From top to bottom, your show is the best. Once the ladies get to drinking, listening to John try to get them back on track is like listening to someone try to herd 100 feral cats. Jen, you are the best. Anyway, the reason I'm messaging is I just signed up for a Taco Supremo, and my surprise shot request would be blank. I will not tell you because it will need to be a surprise. And yeah, it's only so drunk Jen can spice up this murder. So I dated a girl throughout middle school, and even when I moved, she would come to see me until we turned like 16, 17. And then we parted ways. And after our split, my mother called me in 1998 and said, "You're not going to believe what's on America's Most Wanted tonight." And it was my ex-girlfriend.
Oh.
She was murdered, or was she murder? She was murder. I don't know if I'm assuming she was murdered, not the murderer, in Nashville.
Oh wow.
Wait, America's
Why
Most
would she
Wanted.
be on? Well,
She was murder in Nashville in 1996. This murder is called the Nashville Tanning Bed Murders, and I would love to see what you could do with this story. It's still unsolved. Thanks, and keep the grind going.
well, then
So she was a victim.
Yeah, she was a victim. I'm sorry to hear that. That's terrible.
That is crazy.
But that is also, oh man,
That's sad.
terrible.
I'm going to Nashville in May.
Yeah, I definitely want to look that up. I guess someone went into a tanning bed. I don't know.
I don't know. Darren had a request with a maybe you can this one will be a more palatable case, John. Countess Elizabeth Bathory.
Yes, he sent that to me today. I was going to tell you about
Yeah.
that.
The Hungarian Countess.
I got to do like 3 of his stories. He requested another one recently.
OJ. Did he
Oh, yeah,
request
OJ.
OJ? And let me see what else. Brittany said, "Hey, old Taco Supremo here. Lucky enough to get one of those old Ted Bundy stickers. Late to join the Patreon family, but better late than never. I've been listening to y'all on Spotify for a long time, but I have to say I'm looking forward to that ad-free life. Y'all are the best
Ad-free life.
and all my favorite for different reasons. And you're all my favorite for different reasons. The 3 of you make me laugh so hard, and I always get so excited when a new episode is available. So glad y'all are still going strong with the never told before stories, your crazy accents, and laugh-inducing shenanigans. All right, enough flattery. Time to cash in.
No, please keep the flattery going.
Story request. It has been covered by a few podcasts before, sorry, John, but still relatively unknown, even though it inspired the film 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri.
Oh, I wanted to see that movie.
I did see that movie, and it was awesome.
Wait, that's the movie title?
Yes.
3 Billboards.
Yes. Woody Harrelson's in it.
Isn't like there was a murder and the parent put up three billboards?
Yeah. It was
Turn me down a
really
little bit.
good. I'd love to hear John's take on the murder of Kathy Page in Vidor, Texas. I live not too far away in Houston, and I've seen the visual aspect of this story firsthand many times. And then she also has a surprise shot request. Hang on, let me copy and paste it and write it down. So but it's this is one I'm not sure we're gonna like, but we'll do it anyway.
If it has absinthe, I'm not looking forward to
Brittany, let me record your request. Okay, she says, don't hate me, but this shot screams Texas. All right.
What
Does
is
it have
it?
Texas Pete's in it?
I have the name of it, and so I will look up the ingredients. I've got a couple of requests, but today's surprise shot will be for New Sydney. Sydney 2.
Oh,
Sydney 2. She says, anyways, I would like you guys to do a throwback shot, like something you drank in high school you can't believe you could get down.
Well, I didn't drink in high school, so
I drank when my parents would let me drink at the dinner table. So this one's for Sydney.
I can't believe we are still going. Well, I wouldn't say going strong.
why can't you believe it?
I would say like hanging on the tip of the wing.
Mediocre.
We're 3 years and 11 months. Surprise shots, surprise shots. We don't know what they are because they're a surprise.
Well, cheers to Sydney. I picked this out for us for a throwback shot. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, I liked that. It was like cinnamon.
Jaeger. I mean, not Jaeger. Oh, fuck, I know it. Not Jaeger. Goldschlager.
Yeah.
Yeah. You going to the prom too. There's going to be some Goldschlager there. Oh my God, there's really gold chips at the bottom.
Well, honestly, reminds me of Superbad.
We used to drink that and Zima all the time. I was a huge Zima guy. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was.
Sam E is also here. Just joined the Patreon a few months ago. Love you guys.
Love you too.
Hey.
Sam. Let me see.
Sydney's here.
Sydney, guess what
Sydney.
story we're doing? We're
Surprise shot 1. Not the one. Sydney 1, not Sydney 2.
well-
But we are doing, Sydney, I think, had requested this
Yeah.
story.
Sydney 1 requested this story.
Sydney requested it's kind of for you guys that's watching, kind of a feel-good story. What should I say? One word to describe it.
Murder?
Syphilis and... So I'm breaking this one into 2 parts, but you don't need to wait to listen to it because they're 2 different episodes. But we are doing Sydney's request today. All right, so tonight we are going to China. Has anybody ever been there?
No.
Nope.
I really don't have a desire to go. And it's not anything. I don't know. It just doesn't. Like, there's just a lot of people over there. The same reason I don't really care to go to New York City. Too many people.
There's definitely places in Asia I would love to visit. Like, I think seeing the Great Wall would be super cool, but I would rather do like Singapore, Thailand.
So, our good friend Tacos Primo Sydney requested this story. We are talking about the Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department. That doesn't sound that bad, does it? What does that make you think of? The Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department. What the fuck?
Sounds like COVID.
Sanitation.
Yeah, I guess it does. It doesn't sound like a murder, does it? Well,
Someone could have put something in the water supply.
this is a fucked up story, guys, and I'm doing 2 parts. We're doing the Unit 731 case. It is an organization set up, a military organization that was secret that hid under the name the Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department. That's what was set up. The intention was far more different. Basically, it's human experiment. So I'm breaking this episode up into 2 parts, but you don't have to wait to listen to the second one. Tonight, we're focusing more on the inside of the Unit 731 as far as the comfort women are concerned and the experiments that were done on these women, these comfort women. So a lot of like STD talk, pretty gross shit. We're also going to be talking about vivisections. Have you heard of that? Okay, you know what a dissection is?
Yeah.
Okay, so a vivisection is the same thing, but the person's alive.
Oh, I don't like that.
Jesus.
Yikes. Okay.
Yeah, this is fucking bad.
I don't like that.
A little overview on this case, right? The Japanese government has
Chinese or
no. These are Japanese. This is It's a Japanese story
in China.
in China.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you guys heard of the?
Okay, so the sake does possibly
Yeah.
work. Okay.
It's,
okay.
Yeah. It's sorry.
You said we were going to China.
We
so.
are going to China. We're going to.
I know, but this is very confusing.
I know. I'm sorry. We are going to China. We are going to Manchuria. That's kind of where I'm
like the Manchurian Candidate.
That's where I'm kind of starting this. I'm going to give you a little history, but it's not going to be a history lesson. I'm not going to make it a history lesson. Basically, the Chinese and Japanese freaking hate each other. And this story is a lot about racism and just pure fucking, I don't know, evil shit. The Japanese government, they finally admitted to Unit 731, although they never apologize. Well, you know, a lot of people want them to apologize, obviously. They've never apologized or released any information on the experiments. So all the experiments I'm going to be talking about, all the data is from testimonies of researchers and doctors and guards and soldiers. Because one of the reasons you've never heard about this is because, like the Holocaust, you got, a million Jews that are now free. I don't know how many was free. 100,000 maybe. It was a lot.
You mean like escaped?
Yeah, not escape. When the Americans came and
yeah, when the war was over.
When the war was over, yeah. However many you got, now they're all telling their story.
Right.
The thing about Unit 731 is nobody escaped if you were in
Nobody
that
was
prison.
No survivors.
No survivors at all. So the only people that can tell us what really happened are the guards and the doctors. And it's taken almost 50 years for them to do it. I mean, this is relatively recent when they came out. And that's because they're basically on their deathbed, right?
And they're like confessing.
Yeah, they're basically confessing. So that's what we're looking at tonight. It's a fucking crazy story. Anyway, I hope you guys are excited. Go ahead and read this first, McQueeze. This is from the Associated Press.
Historians suspect bones are remnants of grisly war experiments. Dozens of fragmented skulls and thigh bones unearthed at a construction site are locked at an undertaker's storage area. Mysteriously, the government just wants to dispose of, not identify, the human remains.
That's suspicious.
That is suspicious. So this article right here from the Associated Press, August 13th, 1991.
That's my birthday. Like the actual day I was born.
Really?
Whoa.
Holy shit. Yeah, I knew that. I mean, I didn't know the year, but I knew you were in August.
No, you didn't. It's okay.
I thought it was like, I don't know what it was.
It's fine.
What's mine?
February 26, 1986.
That's fucking creepy. This happened in 1991. This is when the world found out about this Unit 731 thing, otherwise known as the Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department. Okay, this is the first time they actually have heard about it in 1991 when they were building a new medical hospital on top of the old one, and the construction company that was building the medical center, when they were leveling the ground, found a shit ton of human bones. I think they found 35 to begin with, and then the government came in and
35 sets or 35 bones?
35 humans, 35 of bones of 35 humans.
Okay.
Then the government came in and said, "Stop digging. We're taking over this project." And they just built over it. It's there now. We're about to go there right now. So this is...
So it's like a grave, like you're not supposed to build over where remains are found. That's bad juju.
Not only did they build over it, but they didn't try to claim any of them. They just threw them in the burner, which is fucking crazy. I started the story. They found a bunch of bones, and the bones came from Unit 731, and the bodies were found July 1999 or 1991, in the Shinjuku district. There were fragmented skulls and thigh bones unearthed. It was a construction site. It was the former medical school that the Japanese used during World War II, and it was a part of Unit 731.
Considering the cooperation between the medical school and Unit 731, the bones are highly likely to be the remains of Chinese and Russian war prisoners killed and shipped from China after the germ experiments, said Kiichi Tsuneshi, a history professor at Kanagawa University.
Wait, but weren't Russia and China on the same side as Japan?
No, the Japanese hate freaking Russians. And they really don't like Chinese either.
In World War II, Russia was an ally, or the Soviet Union was an ally.
This, if you really dig into this story, and I want to say that Japanese people are fucking evil, but honestly, you can't because
No, that's a very broad generalization. But
well, I mean, you can say that, but then you'd have to say Americans are just as evil, if not worse. But these killings these mass genocides all happen through racism. If you go back and look at the Nazis, the Night of Broken Glass, all that stuff, they had all these names for Jews. They started these names, kikes and everything. The Japanese did the same for the Chinese. And racism is everywhere, obviously, but they would call them chinks. And even here in America, there's a movie or a little documentary from the 40s. Remember we watched it? And they were like, oh, these Japs do this and these Japs. Like, it was just so fucking racist.
Very
It was like,
yeah.
these Japs just eat rice all day. I mean, it was like American, like in the theaters.
It was, it was basically, it was like war propaganda.
Yeah.
And it
Moral
was
of
very,
this-
very racist.
Moral of the story is that everyone hates everyone.
Exactly. This is one of those stories where I just wish humans would go extinct, as you're going to see. But at least we don't have to blame America for this. So that's good for now.
Don't worry, Lauren. We're just getting started.
What was he saying?
No. There's another Lauren that just joined asking, what? Aw, shit.
What?
How much have I missed? She asked.
This is the medical center that's still there.
It looks like a castle.
Yeah, it looks like a college campus. It's
which
beautiful.
is you're going to see is creepy because Unit 7031, they built it like a fucking castle. It had a drawbridge and a moat.
That's pretty cool. Maybe I want when we get rich, I want my property to have a drawbridge and a moat, but no
I like it.
gators.
I like it.
So this building's still there. This is the Institute of National Health, kind of like, ours over here. It is on top of thousands of bones. Nobody knows how many casualties.
They never excavated it. They just built on top.
No, the construction company began to excavate it. And then the Japanese government said, no.
No.
Just don't worry about that. Just keep building.
Nothing to see here.
So
And then they just dumped all the bones. They didn't try to claim them or anything because the Japanese government does not want to admit to Unit 7031. They're actually pretty lucky in the fact that there's really no documentation. They torched everything. This wasn't like a Nazi thing where you got multiple camps.
Right.
Unit
Systematic,
7031
they documented everything.
Exactly. They did that in Unit 7031 too, and 731, but it was in one compound, about 70 buildings. The research on these human experiments were extremely detailed, but they torched them real quick when the war was over. That's the first thing they did.
And this was from World War II?
Yeah.
Huh.
Now, ask yourself this, and I'll tell you the answer later, but why weren't these people involved, including there was one guy that headed the whole operation, literally like a Mengele or something, or a Himmler. One guy that headed it all, made all the decisions. And how many of these guys, or the Japanese in general, did you see at the War Crimes Convention? None. This wasn't even mentioned. So I wonder why that is. If you guys want to think about that, I'll tell you later.
Because the
They
government
killed
paid
them. They killed themselves before getting caught.
No, I
right?
think they were paid.
No. Where do you
They
think
were
this
paid off for their secrets.
This story is coming from guys that are dying right now. The book that we're reading by Hal Gold is Unit 7031 and the testimonies. It is basically about there have been multiple exhibits in Japan and in parts of China set up to show what happened in the experiments. For instance, here's one right here. I actually took this from Google Earth. This is inside of the experiment right here. That truck you're seeing right now on your screen is what the Kempentai used to bring the prisoners, which who was doing this? Japanese, right? Mm-hmm. They're Japanese, so they were bringing not many Americans, but mostly Chinese, Koreans, and white Russians usually. Those were the subjects, the guinea pigs of this.
Is this in a museum? Where is?
Yeah, this is an exhibit, Unit 731 exhibit.
Oh, there is one now.
Well, so these are started by the ex-guards and the ex-researchers, because now they're like, 50 years later, they're like, fuck, we were evil. The shit we've done. Like, we're going to be going into it tonight. We're talking about the sexual, the STD research they've done, but pretty bad shit that they were doing to these people, right? And then none of them made it out. So after they did their experiments and got their data, they just fucking threw them in the burner, right? Anyway. All right, I'm going to go through a little bit of the history. This shit's kind of boring, but just kind of to get you guys where I'm at. 1937 through 1945 is when the Second Sino-Japanese War happened. I don't really know much about it, but that is when the Japanese really started to expand into China, into the Manchuria area. You've heard of that. In 1931 is when they started really expanding, but 1937 is when there were little problems. There were problems between the Chinese government and the Japanese government, and things were just not going well, and you knew something was going to break. Then you have like the rape of Nanking, which we're going to do one day, where the Japanese just go into this village and literally fucking rape and murder like 200,000 people or something crazy like that. But all that stuff happened in this town of Manchuria. So the Japanese took over Manchuria. They made it a puppet state. It was controlled by the Japanese Imperial Army. All right. Then finally, the war ends, but then this comes out, Unit 7031. All right, so a couple words. Kempentai, we're going to talk about. Those are the elite military soldiers that would bring in what they refer to as human materials procurement arm. So they worked at the human materials procurement arm, which is the materials, it's the bodies. Instead of animals, it's actual people. Quote, we tied them with ropes around their waist, and this is from an ex-Kempentai member. Quote, we tied them with ropes around their waist and the hands behind their backs. They couldn't move. We took them by train in a closed car. Then the Unit 731 truck would meet us at the station. It was a strange truck, black with no windows, a strange looking vehicle. So I think that's the truck right there. I know it's not black, but that seems to be, I mean, why else would it be there? And this is in the exhibit. So I'm pretty sure that's it. The Kempentai spoke with daggers. They were extremely violent and extremely loyal to the emperor. And at the time, it was Emperor Hirohito. And all the soldiers in Japan were extremely loyal to the emperor. Going back to the first slide where we talked about the bones found. So that was a medical university where the bones were found, which means that these human experiments were known by the majority of the population. in the medical field, that is. There were students using live cadavers to do research. That's why the bones were there, right? So this wasn't just a secretive military faction. This was used throughout the medical field. And even like in high school medical classes, they would use these live subjects, right? The term Maruta, do you know what that means, or have you ever heard of that?
I feel like I have heard it, but I don't know what it means.
I've heard it a few different ways. Maruta or Maruta, not really, whatever. Maruta, I'm going to call him Maruta. So here's Ping Fang. This is where the actual buildings were. So it was a compound, the buildings right here that make up this whole thing. So it's like 70 plus buildings. It's
big.
Yeah, no, it's huge. Yeah.
Bigger than I thought.
So the unit, I shouldn't say they only did human experiments here. They also did bacteriological research that was helpful and not evil. They would study bacteria and stuff like that. Because what I found out about these wars back in the day, you would have 20% of soldiers getting killed by bullets and the other ones getting killed by infections or diseases, a lot of syphilis. Like a lot of people died of that shit, but only 20% would die of bullets. So Japan was actually very forward thinking in the way that they treated medicine, not like a do this right now, a curable form, but a preventative form. They invented, or the guy that did Unit 731, which we're going to talk about in the next episode, the guy that actually put this all together invented a water purification system that we still use today that they take out into the field. Because before that, they were just drinking out of streams and local wells and shit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And getting all kinds of dysentery and stuff. So Japan was actually looked at as being the bar for every other country as far as the medical thing.
In all the gruesome professionalism that built the legacy of Unit 731, there was one touch of sardonic humor. As the massive Ping Fang installation was under construction, local people began to ask what it was. The glib answer supplied was that the Japanese were building a lumber mill. Regarding this reply, one of the researchers joked privately, quote, "And the people are the logs."
Okay.
Oh no.
So a maruta in Japan, which they still use the word today, means log. So they refer to these test subjects, these Chinese prisoners. They're not prisoners. I want you guys to know that. They use the term prisoners, but
they were just like kidnapped.
They
basically.
were abducted.
Prisoners of war?
Not even that, because prisoners of war can have some hope of escape.
There's possible
These were
exchange or
abduction test subjects. That's all it was. And Japan, the Japanese, were right there in the middle of this city with Chinese people all around and a lot of lower, poor type of people that would not be missed, at least for a while. So they called them maruta, which means logs in Japan. And every other day, the incinerator, which they built their own incinerator in this compound, would be just barreling smoke because they're burning logs. People, right?
Right.
They have to burn these logs, these people. And it's interesting to know a lot of them burned really quick. The majority of them burned really quick because most of them didn't have any internal organs anymore. So they were just like empty corpses. So they just burned really quick. Now we're talking about probably upwards of, 10,000 to 50,000 people.
Wow.
Like a shit ton of victims here, right? Like a lot.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that number.
Yeah, what were you expecting?
Not in the thousands.
Yeah.
Or not in the tens of thousands, I suppose.
So these were guinea pigs just used for testing. The next episode, we're going to get into the real purpose of the Unit 731, which was testing for biological warfare. Japan wanted to, they wanted to take over the fucking world. And the CIA actually released some documents not too long ago that show that Japan was this close to releasing a huge biological program in America using fleas and plague. You know what plague is?
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Black Death?
Yeah.
Plague and Black Death, that is the same thing. What they would do is infect all these fleas with this plague, and they would release it. And they almost did that in America. Like, they're really close. So, anyway.
That's spooky.
All right, but tonight we're going to be talking about the VD research.
I was going to ask Lauren, is the bubonic plague the same thing as the Black Death? Like, is that the same plague? Or is it a different plague? I don't know.
You asking me?
No, she's asking
Well,
Lauren.
Lauren had said bubonic plague, and I was wondering that.
From what I read, this was the same as the Black Death. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a medical technician, so... But
Lauren says the U.S. had a program involving bats and incendiary bombs attached to them to be released in Japan.
Well, so bats were...
And,
so it's clear that a bat was a weapon before COVID.
That's correct. Correct.
yeah, this makes me think a lot about the COVID thing, actually, because
I still remember the one, like, it was like somebody put a sign, if anyone thought one man couldn't change the world, apparently never ate a bat.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so let's talk about the victims before we talk about what was done to them.
Before we talk about that, can I just make one comment?
What?
That there was a meme that I saw. I might have said this last week. I don't remember. That bats have butt cheeks.
I don't know about that.
Interesting.
There was a picture. I saw it.
There was a picture.
Do you remember that, like it was in Vegas, some guy was going around and putting cowboy hats on pigeons? You don't remember that?
I kind of do, but I don't. Like, I do, but I don't.
Anyway, it came out that they were like hurting the pigeons or something. I don't know. It was funny though.
It's not funny to hurt a pigeon.
I know, not that. Anyway. All right. The victims here, they're called comfort women, which you guys can probably tell me what that is. Comfort women, right?
Would it be a sex worker?
Yeah, prostitutes. So Japan, this is crazy. This is another thing, another layer of the fucked upness of this story that's not even related to this. Before Unit 731 or any of this other shit, biological crap, the Japanese government, the emperor and the imperial army were using comfort women. Okay. They're prostitutes.
But were they like, were they willingly doing this, or were they like,
no.
Was this forced?
No, it was forced.
Yeah, so they're not really like,
They're not prostitutes.
they're not any, they're victims.
They're victims.
Yeah.
I know. But there's
like
one.
they're not doing it for money. They're being raped against their will.
No, yeah, they're not doing it for money. But
Yeah.
as you'll see,
There you go.
As you'll see, a lot of them were promised other things, and then, like real jobs, and then they would be basically raped by about 50 or more GIs a day, Japanese soldiers. All right. The problem they wanted to solve with that, with the using comfort women, is because and I think every culture has this fucking problem. So it's not just the Japanese, but when a GI goes in to that village or whatever, a lot of times there's a lot of rape of women, right? A lot. In fact, in the rape of Nanking, which we're going to talk about like later down the road because I don't have the stomach for it. In 1937, they went to this little village town, Nanking, and 20,000 recorded incidents of rape happened within a 5-month span to Russian women.
20,000?
20,000 in 5 months. Oh my God. That's just the Russians, too, that were getting raped. So there is a big fucking problem with rape here. So
I mean, I feel like especially in like older wars, it is a Very common.
Well,
there's not like the barrier of civilian versus another person in an armed force. Like you're just kind of like overtaking an area.
It's common. It's the same reason it's common for all the serial killers we talk about that end up raping whoever.
Dominance.
It's like a what do you call it? Like a trait.
It's aggression. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like embedded in humans. You know what I'm saying? It's like very animalistic type of shit.
I don't know if it's embedded in humans.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of humans that do it, so I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm saying it's like I think it's like not even. We talked about this when we were mentioning like the kite runner. It's more of like a
societal.
Yeah. That's not what I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
No, so
Me either.
No, there's only two reasons. Like the two what do you call it? The two traits, I guess, I can't really think today, is that all that matters from a human is survival and replication. That's the only two things when you boil it down that matters, that you go for, to survive and to replicate. So it's basically that one of those traits right there. I don't know. Fuck.
Lauren said it well. That I think that's what I was trying to say. It's a domination action.
Yeah.
Well put.
So the Japanese government provided soldiers with comfort women, which were sex slaves, basically sex traffic slaves, just so they wouldn't rape like they do. However, there was a downside to this too, because it spread VD like crazy. Before a Japanese soldier could go off base, and there were 3 different types of comfort women brothels, I learned. One was for the officers, another was for the non-commissioned officers, and then the other one, the last one, was for the lower enlisted. However, you could switch if you wanted, and the lower enlisted, who usually wouldn't go into the officers because they couldn't afford it, started just going in there and just raping those women. And since they're having sex 50, 60 times a day, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, disease spread rampant, and this was one of the things that they wanted to cure with this Unit 731. They wanted to figure out why syphilis spreads, and so they can combat it, because you can't stop a soldier from doing this, apparently. This is a little more about the Maruta thing. And again, we're reading from the book from Hal Gold. It's called Unit 731 Testimonies. It's the guards and the researchers that came out and testified.
To these guards, the people in here have already lost all rights. Their names have been exchanged for just a number written across the front of their shirts and the name Maruta. They are referred to only as Maruta number X. They are counted not as one person or two persons, but 1 log, 2 logs. We are not concerned with where they are from, how they came here.
That's fucked.
That's bad.
It's kind of like in the military, right? You depersonalize by getting a number. Everyone goes through by a number, but even that has some personalization. But if you just start calling everyone logs, like what is less conscious than a log? It's a fucking log. I mean, you can't humanize a log, you know what I'm saying? If they would have called them rats, at least rats have like more of a conscious than a log. A log is just like the lowest level of life. So when they were gathering these logs up, these Marutas, they just be like 1 log, 2 log, 3 log. Isn't that fucked?
Yeah.
And that way they don't have to feel bad when they do these experiments. And they would, I mean, I'm telling you, we're going to talk about the stuff that they infected these guys with next week. I kind of wanted to get you guys prepared a little bit. But in one case I was reading, this doctor plunged this syringe into this guy's vein, and this guy was like completely wasted away, but he was still alive. He plunged a syringe in there and it made a hollow sound.
Oh.
Isn't that fucked? So you can't think of someone as a human and do that, you know? What the fuck? Anyway.
That gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
This is a comfort woman right here.
Looks like a young girl to me.
Yeah, 12 to 17, usually 18 maybe. Very young. Now, these were women that would just get raped all day, every day. I have one article in here that we're going to go through real quick. I know this is more about rape than anything else, guys, but, you know, we are going to talk about opening these people up. Anyway, this one article from the Sun says, it's about this woman. I'm going to show you her picture in a minute. I was kidnapped at 15, tortured, beaten, and raped by 50 Japanese soldiers a day as one of 200,000 comfort women. And it is pretty terrible. So,
Jesus.
So the reason they're doing this, I'm just trying to make this clear. The reason they're doing this is the bacteria research, which they infect a lot of people and do some other crazy shit, which we're going to talk about, is so they can take over America. They do frostbite testing because in case they ever have to fight in Russia. You know what I'm saying? They're very systematic with this shit. But the fact that they did it on human test subjects that were alive, well, you know, is pretty looked down upon, I would say.
Yeah, a little bit.
This is
it's looked down. Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
What you're reading now is a real example from a comfort woman. This is her testimony.
When I was 14 years old, my mother and I were picking cotton on our farm when 2 Japanese Kempe military police passed by. My mother spotted them and told me to lie flat on the ground, but they succeeded in finding me. They kicked my mother when she came after me. I was crying. We were provided with boiled rice and a side dish of vegetables. The food was not enough. We always went hungry. I had to service 15 to 20 soldiers on weekdays and many more on weekends. They gave me tickets, not currency. I had to take these tickets to my manager for goods I needed. I was infected with VD a number of times. Frequently, the woman had little protection against the soldiers. Kim Dae-il recalled 3 incidents. One time, a soldier sat on top of the stomach of a pregnant comfort woman who was almost full term. Apparently, this act induced labor. As a baby started to appear, he stabbed both the infant and the mother and exclaimed, "Hey, these Senjing dirty Koreans are dead. Come and see." The soldier in line came in, holding a lighted cigarette close to my nose, made me inhale the smoke to wake me up. He then stuck the lit cigarette into my vagina, spreading my 2 legs apart. He laughed and clapped his hands for having done this.
Oh, no. Mm-mm.
So this is one of the guys right here. Those are the comfort women. Look at the smile on that guy. He's having a good time.
That's awful.
Isn't this fucking awful? So the Japanese government has never apologized for anything really, which, you know, whatever, that's them. We can't say anything, but honestly, they should at least apologize for the comfort women thing, because there's a lot of women that are 90, like this lady right here. She's one of those women in that picture.
Wow.
I mean, this is her. She's still alive, you know, and she was raped 50 times a day, passed around. I mean, at least the Japanese government can do is apologize. I mean, it ain't much, but shit, man. I mean,
so they did not kill all of the comfort women after this whole thing.
No. So the comfort women is for this story only, because they needed to test how syphilis works and how, for instance, if a mother gets syphilis, will it transfer to the baby or something like that. They wanted to do all these tests with VD because the soldiers were getting so sick having sex with all these comfort women. The comfort women, that's a Japanese Imperial Army thing altogether. But they did capture the comfort women for the use for Unit 731. So she wasn't in Unit 731 because she would be dead.
They were just like, hey, we have these forced brothels nearby that were used for the Japanese soldiers who would control Unit 731.
Exactly. Everyone that was in Unit 731 as a Maruta, a log, a guinea pig, is dead.
Got it.
Everyone died. Everyone. Okay, like besides the people that were in charge, which why weren't they put on war crimes? This is fucked, right? Japanese people are fucked.
That is not the right statement.
That's very general. These specific people who worked in this thing.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'll tell you right now why they weren't put on trial. The guy who started it, and this is, oh man, this is so fucked to Japan to do this. The guy that was the head of this, he was paid off by, I can't even believe they did this. The American government paid him off and hit him.
I said that.
for the research.
I said that.
The U.S. government, I know this is fucked. The reason that they weren't on trial for war crimes is because the U.S. tried to get their research and actually protected all these criminals. It's fucked up, isn't it?
Wow.
So which one's more fucked, these guys or us? What the fuck?
I don't think there is a more fucked. I think it's like we're all just terrible people.
And then the Russians, they also tried to capitalize on this Unit 731. They found out America was trying to hide these criminals, so they tried to use it as propaganda against America. I mean, who's the victim here? It's like you forget all about the victims.
The people that were experimented on.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm just saying, no one thinks that way.
I think that way.
All
Nicole
right.
thinks that way.
Here's another one.
Sex slave scandal. I was kidnapped at 15, tortured, beaten, and raped by 50 Japanese soldiers a day as one of 200,000 comfort women.
So that's, I mean, how old is she? Like 90 something? Like all she wants is all she wants is recognition, not recognition.
Acknowledgement that she was forced to be a part of this.
Yeah. She's 93, Lee Okesion. She is still fighting for an apology for the horrific abuse. Quote, the Japanese government does not accept yet our demands for an official apology and legal compensation. The prime minister is denying that Japanese war crimes ever occurred. So they can't say that Unit 7031 didn't exist anymore because everyone knows it existed. But since there's no direct evidence, they can deny that any of this shit even happened. Here's some more comfort women right here. Look at them all lined up. Look at the guard. Look how he's smiling. He's probably just going to rape all those women. I mean, it's just so fucked up, man.
Yeah.
So fucked up.
So sad.
Quote, a 14-year-old girl was killed by soldiers in front of us because she refused them. She was slashed to her breast with swords and stabbed to death. I believe she was punished as a lesson for the rest of us.
And they probably didn't even care if these women had special needs or, if they were disabled in any way. They probably just didn't care. They probably just were using them for what they deemed to be their sole purpose.
This girl was 13. She was bundled into a truck and taken to a local police station where she was raped by several policemen. Quote, when I shouted, they put socks in my mouth and continued to rape me.
What was the book called that you're reading from?
It's called Japan's Infamous Unit 731.
Infection of venereal disease by injection was abandoned, and the researchers started forcing the prisoners into sexual acts with each other. A male and female, one infected with syphilis, would be brought together in a cell and forced into sex with each other.
Okay, hold on one second. I got to say this. Now, I don't know if they started off morally better or not, but and this everything you're reading is from the doctors, and we have pictures of the doctors like doing their experiments and shit. The pictures survived, even the pictures of the victims. Some of them. I mean, you'll see like a lot of bodies here in a second, but I don't know if they were trying to be morally better. But at first, they would just, for syphilis, they would take a syringe filled with the syphilis bacteria and inject the female, usually the female, right? Now, that didn't work very well at all. So they're like, well, why don't we use the natural method of contraction?
Contracting.
Why don't we use the natural method, the natural way syphilis flows? So they took a woman who has syphilis because she's a comfort woman, right? And if you get raped by 50 guys a day, you're bound to get it. You take her who has syphilis, and then you take a Chinese man who is just like, let's say he was a Maruta used in the water deprivation. Let's see if this guy can last 30 days with only water or whatever type of shit. All these little tests. You take him, you put them together, and then force them to have sex, and then I guess you wait. Is there an incubation period? I don't know. But then you take the man who has syphilis, and you cut him open, and you study the spread of syphilis through his genitals, which is what they did.
I have a question that's going to sound ignorant, but I'm not trying to sound ignorant. When you force a woman into sex, there's less that you would have to do if the man is the aggressor, But if how do you force a man into sex if he's not aroused? These two people were both victims and they were forced into sex, but how does that work?
I don't know.
How can you force someone?
How can you force a male to have sex?
I'm not. This is not to be funny, but
no. This is a genuine question.
There's women that rape men all the time by putting broomsticks in her buttholes. That is true. Look that shit up. You remember that one movie with Stifler, and he's talking about milking the prostate?
Yeah,
that is how.
No, I know that men are raped all the time. I know that happens.
I know, but that's one way to do it. If you're asking that question, I don't know. I don't know.
I think you have to force arousal. Would
you have her
do things in order to
arouse?
I would imagine. So that would be my assumption. People. I know. It was made clear that anyone resisting would be shot. Once the healthy partner was infected, the progress of the disease would be observed closely to determine, for example, how far it advanced the first week, the second week, and so forth. Instead of merely looking at external signs, such as the condition of the sexual organs, researchers were able to employ live dissection to investigate how different internal organs are affected at different stages of the disease. Lauren had a really good question or possibility. Lauren, not Lauren. Possibly drugs forcing an involuntary erection.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good point.
That is a good point. I will tell you this, though, Lauren. These prisoners, most of them were extremely well taken care of, which is weird because they're prisoners of war, basically. And you would think, well, why? I mean, they were getting 3 meals a day. They were really well taken care of. So I don't know if, do you want to guess why they were given so much?
So that the research would be
there you go,
higher quality?
Yeah, so the data would be reflective.
Because if they're starving people,
exactly, it would be true data.
There's going to be other issues.
So what I'm trying to say, Lauren, is, I mean, if number one, the blue pill wasn't invented yet.
Right.
And I don't know if there was another pill that preceded it.
I mean, there's advertisements all the time for natural Viagra, so there's got to be something.
Yeah, I'm
but the
sure
blue
that
pill,
in ancient Chinese medicine or ancient Japanese medicine, they had some sort of method.
Broomstick? I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't know if they would want to kind of dilute their research, because like I said, apparently this research was extremely well documented, even though it's all burned now, which is fucking crazy. Like, what was all this shit for? I'm pretty sure the American government has a lot of it,
I wouldn't be sure.
But can you imagine us being like, oh, here's all the research, and people are like, well, how'd you get that? I don't know. Fucking, what's his name? MacArthur, maybe? I don't know. What was Truman? Truman's a little later, isn't he? I don't know.
He was in the 50s.
Anyway, fuck. I mean,
No, that was Eisenhower. Sorry.
What'd you say? Truman's in the 50s? Truman was 60.
Truman ended the war.
67. It was Truman Truman was 1945 because he dropped the bomb.
There you go. I was about to be
Truman,
like, come on.
Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon.
I have a 1,000-page Truman book that I've never.
Yeah, we sent one to Grace that we signed. I wonder if she still has it.
Yeah, it costs us like $30 to ship it.
She's in Orlando now.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. She lives there now.
All right. Here's another not so gruesome one to read. Do you want to read that? This is just one of the guards walking in there.
One of the unit members raped her. The other member took the keys and opened another cell. There was a Chinese woman in there who had been used in a frostbite experiment. She had several fingers missing, and her bones were black, with gangrene set in. He was about to rape her anyway. Then he saw that her sex organ was festering, with pus oozing to the surface.
Ugh. Here, let me put...
Thanks for making us read that.
Dude, what the fuck? This isn't my request. I didn't request this shit.
You know, that's not the worst thing that we've read.
You're right. I've read far worse.
Like what?
I think the worst is still the welcome letter for the toy box.
All right, let me see. I want to show you the frostbite incident here.
Oh, I don't know if I want to see that.
Well, Jen, you don't have a choice. I don't know why you think you have fucking choices.
I am the experimentino.
Okay, so this is the frostbite.
Oh no. So would they make them stand outside in the freezing cold, or would they put freezing conditions inside the unit?
No, so they would do it outside. Here, I'll show you a better picture. Do you guys see that?
Hang on,
fucked up.
I don't think they can see it.
What do you mean they can't see it?
Okay, now they can see it. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the delay here.
That's just fucked up, man. Look at her fingers. That's like the one you just read. It said her bones were black.
And honestly, looking at that, I'm like, I'm glad I don't live in New England anymore. Ugh.
This is how they would, to answer your question, Jen, this is how they would do it.
Rena asked, so John, do men get hard even if they don't want to? I think that's a yes, knowing my, middle, like you can't help an erection
sometimes. Don't they have, don't you wake up sometimes from your sleep and...
Morning wood.
Yeah.
Is that a thing beyond your teenage years?
Dude, I've never had that. Waking up with own bones, I never had that.
Is that
Wait, what was your question?
Thing? Do men get hard even if they don't want to?
I mean, not when you get out of teenage years. But I can remember in class, like trying to push. So what you do if you
when
wear...
your teacher had the air conditioner blowing towards the girls?
Oh no, he got fired. I had a...
Yes, he should.
He's lucky that's the least that happened to him.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't do anything.
I don't know, Lauren. Why don't you answer that question too?
So
Any other men want to respond to that one too?
I had a teacher. I think he was a history teacher, but everyone knew him as the baseball coach. But
he was a coach, of course.
He set all the girls in the front of the class and he cranked the air conditioner.
That's fucked.
Yeah.
That is inappropriate.
Okay, what the fuck? I didn't do it.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, think about the age of the students. The dude probably, you don't.
Oh yeah, he was
what I mean?
40 years old.
Yeah.
But so if you're a guy, there's a couple things you can do. You can tuck it up.
No, she's asking, the question isn't what do you do when you have an erection you didn't mean to. It's just does it happen where beyond your teenage years where you get an erection unintentionally? No,
the last time I can remember that happened, so I was at a funeral and...
That's a terrible way to start a story, and I can't tell if you're serious or not. It's like...
Lauren said it happens for me every now and then for a 56-year-old.
Really?
Maybe you should get something checked out. Maybe you should be getting voluntary erections more often.
Maybe you're only attracted to certain things. And Maybe, I don't know.
What?
Like maybe
I
it doesn't
love
happen to you.
Yeah, but she's saying randomly.
Like unintentionally. Like
Like if I'm watching Blippi
Oh,
or
God.
something, and then I get a bone, or
Are you speaking from experience? Because I mean,
if I'm watching the Blippi,
this is hilarious. I just have to say, this is a great. I'm glad you asked.
have
this
y'all
question.
seen the poop video?
No, I
Let
don't
me
want to watch it.
no.
Please, no. I really do not want to watch that right now. Like ever again.
Maybe he'll put
honestly.
it on Patreon. Put it on Patreon. And that's probably copyright infringement, actually.
Lord,
like
well, this took a turn.
Okay, go ahead and read this about the main Jews.
Syphilis would cause a woman's manju to swell up. Once during an examination, pus discharged from the woman's organ and hit the examiner in the face.
Oh, no.
A sample of her blood was taken to the unit for analysis and provided syphilitic.
That's gross.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I want to vomit. What it just makes me want to say to make sure that y'all are practicing safe sex.
How do you get that out of?
How do you not get that out of this, honestly?
We're talking about human experiments, and
Yeah.
you're talking about you think anyone wants to have sex after reading pus shot in someone's eye? I mean, who wants to have sex after that?
I don't know. Some people have weird kinks.
This is one of those involuntary boner situations.
Let me look
I
up
don't know.
syphilis. I want to show you guys what it looks like.
No. No. I'm going to have to go grab another drink if you want to show me a picture of that.
Okay, so basically, with the syphilitic mothers, the babies were mostly born inside the unit, right? Through the forced rapes.
Were they tested on or were they killed?
No one made it out.
Well,
Even the baby logs didn't make it out.
but I meant like, were they tested on or were they killed immediately?
Everyone was tested on.
Even the
Everyone.
babies?
Yes, even the babies. So they needed a test. Like, I can show you some baby pictures right here.
No,
I didn't want it to come to this, but
I believe you. Have they made a movie about this yet?
no, they don't even admit this yet. Even though there's photos, they still won't admit it, much less make a movie. And Americans not gonna make a movie about it because we're the ones hiding it.
Well, let's do it. Let's make a movie about it. Let's capitalize on.
We're just as worse. It's kind of fucked if you think about it. Where's that one picture?
Yeah, it's really fucked. But people need to know.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't disagree. Here's some of the bodies right here. You can see some babies.
Oh no, I don't like that.
Look, you can see one baby like right there, baby's butt. You see it?
Stop.
I'm not looking.
These are all kids.
Babies.
Babies.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
children. This is fucked. These are all from the experiments. Every one of them. Frostbite, syphilis. Okay, let me tell you. Let me move forward a little bit and tell you what exactly they fucking put in these babies.
Is syphilis one of the diseases that can be passed on through childbirth?
We don't know because that research it wasn't actually freaking carried out. I mean, it was carried out, but it was burned. I mean, obviously, people know now. You can look it up and tell. But at the time, that's what they were trying to figure out. If the babies would be born syphilitic or not. So
You can move this off the screen now.
these babies, we're going to talk a little bit about this for one of the next episodes. But the people infected with diseases, including the babies, which you're seeing here. Some of the things: anthrax, yellow fever, typhoid, paratyphoid fevers, typhus, chickenpox, cholera, dysentery, scarlet fever, encephalitis, hemorrhagic fever, whooping cough, diphtheria, pneumonia, meningitis, tuberculosis, salmonella, gonorrhea, and of course, syphilis. This is fucked. I think it's more fucked up that we hid these people. That's the only. We were so into the war crimes, the Nuremberg fucking Nazis, and they deserved it. But at the same time, It's like, look over here, and we're not only hiding this, we're paying them off.
And you know what's actually even more upsetting?
Super fucked.
You know what's even more upsetting is that the Japanese were the ones who attacked Pearl Harbor and like started America's involvement in the war, and then we're not even going to hold the criminal crimes, the war crimes of this responsible. I mean, at the same time, they did drop a bomb. Two bombs, but that's different. Those people were innocent. These people are criminals.
These people are criminals?
No,
These
not
are babies.
not the babies. The people who were responsible for this unit.
So we're not criminals for killing 200,000 civilians in Hiroshima?
Am I being unclear? Am I being unclear, Nicole? Because I want to make sure I'm clear.
I'm just not going to go into this one.
I'm just saying that. No, I'm saying
that humans should just all be extinct. We all fucking suck. I say every human needs to be extinct, and this world would eventually regrow itself, get back to normal. The carbon cycle would normalize again.
Maybe humans will come back again. Maybe they won't.
That would be the worst thing to happen. We're all fucked. Except for Sweden. Where's Lauren live? Sweden? Except for Sweden. They're just all happy all the time for some fucking reason. It's like the happiest country to live in the world.
I thought that was Switzerland.
I don't know.
What's the one that's neutral all the time? That's Switzerland.
Yeah, which is crazy because you can't be neutral if you're like sandwiched in between all these warring countries.
But they are. That's why they're neutral, because what happens if one...
They're neutral until one of them says, you better be... It's like France. Okay, they're here. Let's put our guns down. We're with Germany now. You gotta fight. Ukraine, you better fight. That's what I'm saying. Kill me some Putin. All right, given that both health and military authorities at Unit 731 and other facilities expressed great interest in syphilis, subjects were deliberately infected so that did you read this? So that the disease could be studied. The staff looked not only at external signs such as changes in genital organs, but also the effects on internal organs. They therefore killed the subjects for dissection at specific intervals. Our practice vivisection, which the vivisection is it's usually done on animals, even today. If you think about it, the medical research. I know in one army school, they use a live goat. They shoot a goat a bunch of times and they try to keep it alive. Kind of the same thing. Anyway.
Oh, that's terrible.
Just for research or to try to show people how to do life-saving techniques?
Yeah, for that reason. To show people how to do life-saving techniques. To stop the blood flow, stuff like that.
Do they save the goat?
Sometimes.
Terrible.
I know, but it's an animal.
We're animals. You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals.
There are even reports of the deliberate infection of pregnant women, so both mother and fetus could be dissected to study vertical transmission. All right, I got some pictures up here.
Oh, God.
Jesus Christ. But I guess I'll stop here with the 731 for this one, because was that a lot?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
although I feel I don't want to, like, if there was more that you wanted to include in this episode.
Yeah, we weren't trying to rush you. We were just confused.
Yeah.
No, I can, I'll talk more about it next time.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Because I was going to do more with the baby stuff, but...
Well, finish with the baby stuff then.
No.
Okay. I was hoping he would say okay, and then we wouldn't have to talk about it again.
Jesus. It's so fucking bad. I'll put these pictures on talkmore.com. I got a lot of other pictures I wanted to show, but a lot of the pictures are of the vivisections, which the patients laid out on the table, and they're being cut open and stuff like that. But I think we're done with this fucking episode. One last thing that will just ruin the day for you.
Oh, great.
This one doctor says he performed these vivisections on 6 living women. The one experience he did not want to speak of was that concerning a Chinese woman. In vivisections on living persons, sometimes chloroform is used to put the victim to sleep. At most times it is not, and the person is cut open fully conscious.
Oh, no.
This particular, you didn't know that? This particular Chinese woman, he told me, was put under chloroform but regained consciousness on the table. She started getting up screaming, quote, "Go ahead and kill me, but please don't kill my baby." So no one goes to the next episode.
And it's just us. So,
all right. Well, that was terrible. I shouldn't have ended it like that. Anyway, I hope you guys like that. I'll cover the biological aspect of it next time with the viruses and the releasing the COVID rats and stuff like that. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. And this is a Talk More to Me podcast. The next episode, interesting. 2 16-year-olds murder their Spanish teacher, 66-year-old. And we're going to be discussing that. So be sure to join us then. And until next time, good night, you lovely, lovely people.